Hello there. Oh, I feel like I'm miles away from the camera with this thing on. Oh dear, look at those lockdown roots. I did buy some dye, but when my hair's lighted in the sun, the dye's the wrong colour now. God. Oh dear, anyway, so hiya. She says lounging around on her side. Today we're carrying on with the trauma reflex. So Tuesday and Thursday this week, I have been showing you how to lengthen the side of your body and get some movement around the waist, which is really important for when we look over our shoulders, twist in the car, if we do any twisting, bending, reaching up, reaching back, reaching sideways, you know, our shoulder blades need to be able to lengthen away from where they are, you know, our chest muscles need to be able to lengthen. So we're looking at all of that at the moment. So that's for this week. Next week I think we're going to do the green light because we haven't done that for a while. And as my child woke me up in the middle of the night, 4 o'clock this morning, came and said, my back hurts. And I'd watched him be on the computer all day, hunched over. I thought, well, and I was showing him how to do back releases in the middle of the night. And he's going to be completely in the red light reflex. So we're just going to look at back, I think, even though that was more red light, but we're going to do back next week. Anyway, hello, whoever's come on. I'm just rambling away as usual till people appear. So trauma reflex. So we've done quite a lot of trauma reflex Tuesday and Thursday evenings. So today's class is just going to build into that. You don't have to have done those classes to do this, but you know, they all kind of tie in together, and a combination of all of them, if you did it over the week, would be really amazing. You just have such a different feeling through your body, and you'd see it sort of in habits that you do, and you know, it's things that you do that you've got into bad habits with, you know, that your body kind of tells you, no, don't do that anymore. I like feeling the other way. So if you apply these things regularly, you start noticing things. Hi Kaz, you come back for some more more twisting, more lengthening. If your shoulder's still playing up, then I'm just trying to think what we're doing today that's going to be, you know, it should all be fine as long as you do the modifications that I talk about, if anything's wrong. Yes, okay, so what I'll show you is things we're doing today. It might be all of them, it might not be all of them, but at least if you've seen them, you know what I'm talking about when I do them. So we'll do our usual arch curl. We're just going to spend some time doing the arch and curl on the normal way that we've been going off at angles. And then we'll just go straight into our arms to open the chest as ever, whichever modification that you need to do. You can open it as wide as you want to. So normal arch and curl. If you haven't done it before, then you might want to watch some videos first, or do the 7-day challenge before you do this, or watch this rather than actually do it today. And then we are going to do lengthening on one side. So what we'll do is we'll just do some chest lengthening. So we want to get this muscle lengthened here, and then we're going to do some arch and curls where we bring our knee up like we did yesterday, and then we lengthen the whole of one side of the body. Okay, so we're going to do that as an arch and curl, but one-sided. And then we're going to do we're just going to do some very gentle side knees, side to side, just to get the waist open. If you did yesterday's, you should have a nice soft waist anyway. And then we're going to play into that a bit more with arm reaches. So we'll do our reaches up to the ceiling, which is this movement where you bring the arm up and down, obviously much more gently than that. I just want you to see the movement. It's just raising up alternate arms. And then we play into that a bit more with reaching across. And then we play into it a bit more with reaching across, pushing into the foot, and reaching to whatever angle your body will let you. And what you'll see is you're getting some lengthening along the waist and along the front of the groin again, because we need to kind of get this area open to help with the side movements and across the abdomen. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to do another play into that that's a little bit harder on the body, but not harder, just a little bit more concentrated. You have to think about it a bit more. And that's the one where we have which we didn't do yesterday or the day before, which I'd hoped to do, where we reach down the side. I'm going to just swap sides. Reach over, reach down the side, eventually push up. So that just kind of plays into what we were doing with the arms on that last one. But you've got to be a little bit more in control of your back muscles, and it's not as soft as the last one. And then we're going to come onto our sides, and we are going to do our side leg lift again that we did on Tuesday, because it's so good for your waist muscles up and down the sides. And then we're going to do our propeller, which is where we didn't do yesterday, which is where we have our arms long, and if you can't do them long, then you have them here, and if you can't do them anywhere, if you've got a bad shoulder, you've got a frozen shoulder, then you'd have your arm on your side, and you would just move your body side to side from the waist, just letting the shoulder kind of guide it. So they're the arm positions for that last one. But the full propeller is where we twist from the waist, taking the shoulder back and forth with a long arm, because we want to lengthen the rib cage. And then eventually what we do is it becomes a bigger movement, so we'll tilt further forward. I can't really demonstrate it fully on this side because I haven't done anything to make it softer today, so otherwise I would normally be on the floor rotating back. Oh, it's not too bad. And then we bring the leg in, and the leg lengthens, and we start making it a much wider kind of circular movement where we really lean into it. Okay, so that's how we're going to end up with our nice propeller. Who have we got there? Hello Fiona. So Fiona, we're just building into the trauma reflex, because we've done 2 classes this week that have had trauma reflex benefits. So we're building into that. So I'm just going to suggest to people combining some of the moves from those classes. You know, you could have a look at them and pick out the ones you like, just whiz through, go, oh, I'll do that. As long as you've got the arch and curl in there somewhere, and you've done some diagonal work, some waist work, then you're really getting to the trauma reflex. There are some of the ones that we do on the front. I don't think I've done any on the front this week for the trauma reflex, but there are ones that you can do. Maybe we'll look at those next week or another time, or when we do the back stuff. Okay, any questions here now? Hit me. Otherwise, in a minute we'll start. So I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. Okay, I just wanted to remind people, because we, at the start of my classes about a year or so ago, we used to do inner thigh releases, outer thigh releases, back of the back and lower back releases, without it being somatics. We just did them as releases, where you switch the muscle on to tighten in a very short way, and then you release it, so the brain starts connecting with the area. So I'm just going to remind people of one of those. I thought I'd do that very quickly at the start, because it's really worth doing before you do a class. If you could do the whole of them all around the hips, because the hips is a starting place for a lot of stuff. If you could do all 4 of them before you started a class, you'd have a really different experience of the class. So the one I'm going to show you, remind you of, is where you, a lot of my clients know these, and I do them with them one-to-one, and I've done them in somatic. So you'd open your thighs to as far as they go. So I'm on the edges of my feet, so I've opened them, butterflied my thighs open. Put my hands on the inner thigh, wherever you can reach. Might be high up, might be quite low down to the groin. You only need your fingers there. Heel of the hand might be on the front of your thigh. And then all you do is close your thighs against your hands, but in the most tiny way, so there's hardly any movement. You do 20% pressure, so it's very, very light, and you hold it for 20 seconds. So that's your adductor muscles in your inner thigh switched on. Mine are having a good bounce, so that tells me they're not very happy. They don't want to do this. And then you hold it as long as you can, 20 seconds at least. And then you let go very gently. So you have to be very careful that you're not switching your shoulder muscles on for too long. So soften the shoulders. And then you push again. So you might do that 4 times. You would do that 4 times at the least. You could do as many as you want to. This is really good if you've got outer bottom pain, hip pain. I mean, obviously you don't have to go as wide as my legs go. You could be up here doing it, and then letting go a little bit. Yeah. So it's a good way to think about adding in to release the inner thigh. If your inner thighs are tight and you're getting pain in the hips or in the bottom, lower back side of your legs. Okay, so that's just a little reminder. So let's crack on, and I'll introduce some of the other ones next week, the other 3 that you could be doing. Let's have a little lie down. Ugh, do nothing. Got wind blowing around this building today. Yesterday it was visits from children. neighbour's music. Today we've just got the wind. Hopefully it won't be too disturbing. Sorry if it is. You'll have to do me a little message if it's too windy. Soften into the floor. Have a scan. Scan from your head. Let's start at the head. Scan down. Check out each side of your body as you go along. Compare sides. Make sure you look at your arms. Remember, you're looking for anything that's signalling to you that there's something not quite right in that area, tingling. You might feel numb on one side, you might have no way of picturing one side of your body. If you're not very visual and you can't see your body, then you're just feeling into sensations, pressures, tilts. Notice your breathing, especially around the chest area, how it affects the rib cage, whether there's differences side to side. Notice where your breath gets down to. Any differences in sides of the pelvis, tilts, pressures. Travel down the legs. Inside, outside, back, front, get everything. Notice which parts of your leg touch the floor, don't touch the floor. Make sure you check out your knees and your ankles. Oh, I spilled a cup of tea on myself yesterday. I absolutely just made boiling cup of tea all on my leg. So I can feel that today, down on my foot, my calf. Thank goodness for lavender and aloe vera, eh? And sticking your leg under the kitchen tap for 10 minutes. So we're going to bring our legs up gently, feet on the floor, hip width apart. Adjust yourself if you need adjusting through the neck and the shoulders. Use a little pillow if you need one for your jaw, for your if you can't breathe in this position very well. Not too deep a pillow that you're tilted too far forward. Just focus on your breath again. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. Slow it all down. We want to notice how different our breathing is at the end of this to when we started. So have a good look at what's going on. See if you can use your breath to expand a little bit more into the shoulders, the upper back, the abdomen, the rib cage, the waist, the lower back. Slow the out breath. And as ever, when you feel like your breath is getting down into your pelvis, you're noticing some even tiny changes, that you're expanding a little bit more, you're able to take your breath a bit wider. And that's active, you're actively doing that, you're not just hoping for the best that it will. You're exploring breathing a little bit deeper into areas around the abdomen, lower back. Don't force anything. If it doesn't like it, don't do it. As soon as you feel like you're getting your breath down into the pelvis, into the abdomen, your belly's expanding, then join in with the pelvis tilting forward. Arching the back gently, softening back down. So we're going to go into an arch and curl quite quickly today. I've got a little visitor in here flying around my head. Keeps trying to land on my head. So if you're watching this, I'm flapping my hands about occasionally, and then you'll know why. That's because I left the door open yesterday. So just arching gently, bring the shoulders in when you're ready, shoulders just press back as you breathe in and you tilt the pelvis forward. Imagining that bowl of water, if you're new to this, tilting forward, pour in the water towards your toes. That's the direction your pelvis is tilting if you had a bowl of water on your lower abdomen. Shoulders are pressing back. If you had a bowl of water on your chest, on your breastbone, the water would pour probably down towards your, around your neck and under your head. Your shoulders press back. So back and down. So you're just getting some length through the front of the body, expanding it with the breath, sinking back down. I think what we're going to do, which I didn't suggest, and just because it's always good when we do the trauma reflex to concentrate on one side of the body, is our foot forward pressing into the foot. So just get your back moving softly and gently. Doesn't matter how big or small it is, as long as you've got control, you're not in pain, you can release the lower back muscles gently and come back to a neutral position. And then, so you can do this however small that movement is, as long as you've got control. Oh, that fly's annoying me now. It's chosen my hair as a place to rest. So we're going to send our right foot forward and send our knee forward. We're not going to send our right foot forward, sorry, the fly's distracting me. We're going to push into our right foot, send our knee forward, and keep taking that pelvis into that forward tilt. It's still trying to go against that. That just causes a little bit of resistance when you push your foot forward, down into the floor and send your right knee forward. In the right side of the pelvis, it will push the left side of the pelvis down into the floor a little bit, but you're just going to try and resist that and still take your pelvis forward. So this is all very small. Knee comes back to where it started. Breathe in, arch, send the knee forward, push into the foot, keep going with that resistance. So this might be done again in a very tiny way. You might not feel anything, you might feel a lot. As long as it's not painful and you can control everything. It's a very small movement. You might keep the shoulders moving at the same time, you might not. You might find that the right shoulder gets more active than the left. That's okay. You might not be able to do the shoulders at the same time. Remember, we're only going back to neutral, we're not curling. We want to just concentrate, let the brain concentrate on that right lower back in this movement and how it engages. And we're trying not to tilt over towards the left, we're trying to still rock forward with the both pelvic bones going forward. One's probably going to be a little bit higher than the other, the right side. Make this the last one, come back to the centre, and then very gently arching. You might find your body wants to start curling now, there's been some release on that right side. You might feel that the back's going, oh, off we go then, take the other way. And I want you to just carry on with the arching and do the same on the left side. So left foot push, send the knee forward. We might be talking a centimetre forward of the right knee. Might be that smaller movement for some of you. Make sure you're coming back to neutral. Involve the shoulders if you want to. If you're somebody who's done this before quite a few times, then you might be able to do that happily. Don't overdo it. Even if you're very flexible, if you're getting bouncing, then you're not doing it right. If you're somebody who's hypermobile, you can do this quite comfortably. Everything makes a great big deep arch and you're really arching your back. But if you bounce back, then you've overdone it. It's way too much. It's just the fact that you've got soft ligaments that are letting you move further, but you're not fully in control. We'll do one more on the left. And then we'll go back to our arching, sorry. Just feel how your back feels. You might have already started making it a bigger movement because of that. And then when you feel ready, start bringing your body into a curl. So as you breathe out, curling the pelvis towards your belly button, sinking the belly button in, shoulders come forward if you want to involve the shoulders straight away, otherwise you might just focus on the pelvis. If you've got a soft jaw and your neck's quite soft, then you might notice your chin movement. If you go into an arched back, your chin is likely to drop towards your chest. If you go into a curl, your head's likely to tilt back and your chin lift up towards the ceiling. So they are the red and green light patterns. Arch is a green light pattern, chin tilts down. Red light reflex pattern is a curl, chin juts forward because it's trying to keep your eyes to the horizon. You're walking along looking at the floor because your shoulders are rounded forward and you've got a tilted curved spine. You want to be able to see where you're going. So now I'm actively arch and curling, not doing anything different on either side. I'm just letting my body move in the arch and curl that it's in. I might still be tilted over to one side slightly if I've got a trauma reflex, but that's okay. You don't have to try and correct yourself. If your arms get involved, let them get involved. If you're doing quite a deep movement in the shoulders, your arms might just rotate. So hands might come over. You can actively involve yourself in that by opening and closing the palms along the arms. So this is as much as we're going to do within our arch and curl now. So we're going to just do a couple more rounds. Just want you to feel the differences, get the lengths, what's happening side to side on each side of the back, shoulders, each of the corners, each side of the pelvis, each side of the shoulder, girdle, chest, muscles, all those 4 points, what's going on in them, what's going on in the lower back, how's the abdomen lengthening from the rib cage to the pelvis. Just get a feel for all that and that you've got full control, even if it's very small. And then we're going to soften down, so make sure you've had a good look at those areas. As soon as you have them, lengthen your legs down, let go. Next thing we're going to do when we come back after our couple of breaths of doing nothing is we're going to just do our chest opening, which is elbows out to the side, fingertips by the ears, or hugging across the body with your forearms on your rib cage or across your belly, depending on the length of your arms. So bring the legs up, crooked position again, feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. Adjust yourself a bit if you need to. Choose your arm position. Frozen shoulder people, then you're going to reach across in a little hug. Bring your arms back down to the floor. Anybody else, we're just going to investigate being out at 90 degrees to the body. If that's too much for the size of your body, then go back to the one that I was talking about before. And then we just add this into an arch and curl. So arms, elbows coming across the body on the out breath as the pelvis tilts up, and then opening gently. So make sure your chest muscles are okay. That's what we're looking at here. The attachments into the shoulder blades, into the back of the arms. We're going to keep it small. They don't have to touch across the body if they're not ready to, because the shoulder blades are quite compacted to the floor. So you need to watch that they're okay coming away from the spine as you bring the elbows across. Vice versa, that you're not getting pain in your breastbone because you're opening so wide and breathing in so deeply as you take your elbows away from the midline. Fingertips might be just lightly against your head. Palms might touch your face, they might not. When you come back, it's up to you. If you're hugging your body, your arms might come right in across if your shoulders are okay. And they might go down to the floor and the arms might open out, or they might not. It's up to you, depending on how your chest is. You might bring the elbows out a bit wider to the floor. So you get a kind of hugging movement across the body as you curl, and then you get a kind of opening acceptance, arms opening wide movement as you arch. Possibly your elbows may just, your hands may just stay on your body. Rise up with your belly. They may come right out, the elbows, and the arms may fully lengthen out along the floor. You're just playing into your chest muscles on that horizontal, seeing how they feel. Again, have that awareness if you've got quite a big arch and curl going on, that your chin's moving, your jaw needs to be soft. So we're going to just do 2 or 3 more rounds of this. So wherever you've got to is where you've got to. You don't need to try and force it to be a bigger movement. And please don't force it to be a bigger movement, there's no point. It gives you no benefits to then start stretching and forcing pain. Last one, bring your legs down gently, rest into the floor, arms soft. So we're just going to go back to our chest. We're going to lengthen our legs up, bring our legs up, feet flat on the floor, knees bent, and then very gently arch and curling again. Arms by the side, palms facing down, and then you're very gently going to lift your arms up as you arch, so they go up towards the ceiling. They're just shoulders sunk into the floor still, but you've got straight arms, palms up, and then take them back behind you as you're arching, and then as you come forward, bring them forward as if they're trying to get back down to the floor. They may not, might be too much now, you're arch and curling. So we're just arch and curling, but with straight arms above the chest that move back and forth in a kind of arc. And just feel into your chest muscles how they feel. If you change the angle of the hands, you're going to get a different feel. So if your thumbs go back, you're going to get a different feel to your palms going forward. And your back of your hands go back. And if your thumbs go forward and back, you're going to get a different feeling in the chest again. So you might explore those if you're feeling okay. Some of you might just not be doing this at all. If you need to modify this because you can't keep your arms up in the air, you could have your elbows down on the floor. Take the hands forward, so your forearms are up in the air, 90 degrees to the elbow, and then they're going forward and back in the same way. So you've got no weight through your shoulders then, and then you can control it a bit better. Keep the hands soft. If your elbow's too far out for you, then bring them in a bit. They can come closer to the body. And you could do it at a lesser angle. You still do this movement, you just won't be able to go as far back probably. But you'll still get opening in the chest with the muscles that we want to work on. So we're just going to do 4 more of these, just watching what happens, because I'm going to do some more in a minute with the legs. And then we're just going to make this the last couple. Remember your arch and curl should be nice and controlled, so it might be very small if you're concentrating on the arms of the chest. If it's bouncing while you're trying to concentrate on the chest, your brain won't be concentrating on the chest, it'll be worrying about what's going on at the pelvis. So let's make this the last one. Lengthen the legs down, have a little rest, do nothing. So bringing the legs up again. So now we're going to concentrate, and you can do this with the top of your arms on the floor again, if you can't lift your arms up. And all we're going to do is, if you can, is we're going to take the right arm up into the air, and we're kind of going to do an arch and curl, but it's going to be more dominant on the right. So all that's going to happen is we're going to arch and the arm goes back, and then come forward, and if you can, lift the knee up on the right and bring it towards the hand. So we get a nice scrunch into the abdomen, chest comes forward, and then very gently, as you're coming into neutral, bringing that foot down, taking that arm back behind you. So the left arm's on the floor. You might be doing it with your arm down on the right. You might just have the forearm up in the air. So you're just going to gently bring the knee up, take the arm forward, squeeze the chest towards the knee, and then opposite direction. So feel into that for a little bit, feel about the knee. Remember yesterday I said if you lift the toes before you lift the knee, you'll get less problem in the groin if you struggle to lift the knee up. Make sure you put the toes back down as you arch. So all that is flexing the toes towards the calf before you lift the knee up. Makes the hip flexor switch on, and then it's about the abdomen lifting if you struggle to lift your knee. So we're not lifting the body up because we haven't got the other side involved, so we want to just keep this nice and controlled. So when you're ready, you can start lengthening the leg down the mat. So as you put the foot down and the arm goes back behind you, then lengthen the leg down very gently as you're arching. So it's very strong, this, so be careful. You might find that you can't take the arm back as far as you did before. You might need to put your upper arm down on the floor, do it with a bent elbow. I want you to feel how much lengthening you're getting down that one side, into the groin, into the abdomen. So if your trauma reflex is into the front of your body on one side, this is how we're getting it. So have that awareness. You might need to flex the toes to bring that leg up if it's your trauma side. It is my trauma side, and I do have a bit of tightness in the groin, so I have to watch that toe flexion. It helps me to lift my knee up. It helps to tighten into that area. Slow it down, feel into all aspects of this, there's no rush. It's better to do these in a very slow, controlled way, and not so many, than to do loads of them where you're just not looking, you're just doing it without much purpose. Use your breath, breathe up into the rib cage, the chest, down to the groin. We're going to do 2 more. When you've done your last one, lengthen everything down, let go. Notice how that side feels compared to the other side. I think my leg's 2 inches longer on that side now. It's definitely much flatter to the floor. And then we'll have our 2 breaths where we do nothing. Obviously, if you're at home and you're not doing this with me rambling away, then you could just do as long as you want in between. But make sure you have some time in between each move when nothing's happening, movement-wise. Bring the legs up, start that process again. You've got your left arm up in the air, all by your side, but with the palm up and your forearm up, just moving forward and back. And then arching gently. Other arm wherever it wants to be. It might be rested on your belly, it might be on the floor. Arch and curling gently. Watch that arm. Have some mind on your neck. The other side just stabilising you a bit, and then bring the knee in when you feel ready. Use the breath. Try and get it involved in the whole breath movement, so it really means that you've slowed your breath down, you can control everything within the breath. Your hand might touch down on the floor next to you, it might touch down on the knee. Got a chair behind me that's getting in the way. Make sure you're not dragging your foot through the air. Drag it along the mat before you lift. And make sure you put your foot down, just down by neutral, and you're not lengthening it down till you're arching. Or even lengthen it and then arch gently. If you're struggling to get your arm back, then turn your head towards that arm. Tuck your shoulder blade under, and you'll probably find, if your neck's okay, that you can get that arm back a bit further without forcing it. This just changes the angle, so it allows the chest muscles to open a bit more. Don't do it by stretching it. I'm going to do 2 more. Very controlled, very slow. Enjoy your last one. Lengthen down, let go, do nothing. So bringing the feet up. So we're just going to do some very gentle waist movements from the knees. So we're going to keep the knees where they are. We don't usually do it at this angle, taking the knees side to side, but we're going to do it today. And we're just going to very gently take your arms a bit wider of your body. Very gently. This is like the wash rag, but with your knees closer together. Knees are just going to go side to side. I want you to have a watch of your the bottom and the side of your legs, as we always do to start this. It's a bit deeper than we would do it with wider legs, so just watch what's going on down the side. We have done quite a few different leg patterns this week already, so you can have a look at those. Just make sure you're not taking them too deep. And when you feel ready, let both feet go onto the edges of the feet as they go side to side. And make sure you come back to the starting position. Breathe in, and then start making it a bit more about the waist. So what you can feel around the waist, the connections to the waist. So your mind's eye would go to then sensations around the waist, or looking at the waist in your, if you can visualize it. Notice what's happening in the abdomen up to the rib cage. Well, those kind of diagonal connections. You might start turning your head gently, opposite way to the knees. It helps anchor you a little bit if your knees are getting wider. So I want you to start feeling this definitely around the waist by now. Don't let them go so far over that it hurts your bottom muscles at the side. Have some awareness that your inner thigh is tightening to go down towards the floor on the upper leg, so that's going to lengthen the outer leg, but it might not be ready, so watch that. You just want to get some nice momentum. Well, not momentum, we don't want to be swinging, we just want to feel that it's going up into the waist, to the rib cage, to the shoulders, along the spine. So your upper shoulders are staying where they are. We're going to move our shoulders in a minute, so just work on the legs. I'm going to do 2 more each way. Last one. And then I'm going to leave my legs where they are. I'm going to drop the knees in together. You might find you have to take your feet a bit wider to do that. That's kind of your switched off position as well. As long as you can sort of actively let the knees drop together. So the next thing we're going to do is take the knees apart again, same distance. And we're going to reach the hands up into the air. And we're going to start reaching the arms up towards the ceiling very gently. Hopefully even with a frozen shoulder you'll be able to do this a little bit, tiny little way. If you can't bend the elbows, hand on an elbow and then just reach the arm up towards the ceiling. So you've got bent elbows, your forearms are kind of across your body, not hugging, they're not touching. And then very gently protract and retract your shoulder back down. Takes the weight out of it a little bit. Gives a little bit of resistance if the hand's on the elbow. Otherwise you've got long arms, you're reaching up to the ceiling, settling the arm back down, reaching the other arm up. And then we're going to start taking that diagonally. As soon as you can start feeling that your shoulder is okay, it's not bouncing, and you've found the position that is far enough in the reach for you to be able to control everything back down, then you're going to just start gently reaching across the body, turning the head as well. So alternate arms reaching across the body. See if you can feel that connection down to the rib cage, maybe to the pelvis. Keep the hips where they are, they're not going anywhere. Not yet. If you're reaching diagonally across the body, might become quite a big movement quite quickly, might not. If you're feeling it from the waist, you might start feeling that you can reach across a bit further. If you're only doing it in the shoulders and you're just still releasing at the shoulders, then you probably won't go very far. It's going to make this about the waist quite quickly. So if you're doing it with the elbows on top of each other, you can still do this. Just very gently guide the other arm across without stretching. So you can help the elbow go across your body. It's not particularly pulling, it's just guiding. The hand's guiding the upper elbow across. It's like you're rocking from side to side. Stopping in the middle. And then what we're going to do is the direction we're moving the hand. So if I'm moving my right hand across my body, I'm going to push into my right foot and just lift the pelvis up and let myself tilt and reach a bit further. So it becomes a bit more about lengthening along the side. And your knees are kind of the stable part here, pushing into the foot to help you. So it becomes more of a rock. And then it's more about your controlling those positions back down, reaching that arm forward. Keep everything nice and soft. Don't be rigid in this. Have a little bend in the elbow, you can have a little bend in the wrists, hands soft. So you're just reaching across, pushing into the foot. So it becomes quite a nice sweeping movement. Breathe in as you go. To the side, breathe out as you come back. Just reaching away, actively reaching away if you can. With your knees going one way and your shoulders kind of going the other way, so that's where you're going to get the lengthening in a nice, soft, subtle way. If you need to bring the arms down, you can. You could just have the arms by your sides and rock over. In fact, have your arm on your belly and rock over. You could just reach your arm across your belly actually. That will activate that movement. Still just get the awareness of those chest muscles. You're still going to get some nice lengthening down the side. It'll just be a bit more subtle. So we're going to do 2 more on each side, wherever you've got to. And then when you've done your last pair, then bring your legs down, soften into the floor, let go. I think now, because we're of time and everything, because we're doing a lot more one-sided stuff, we're not going to have time to do all the other 3 moves that I was thinking of. We've probably got time for 1 move. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go onto our sides. We haven't done this one this week, so we'll go onto our sides. And we have done the other, oh, we've done one of the other ones this week. Pillow if you need it. I'm going to get a pillow and just see how it feels to have that pillow. I don't usually use a pillow, but I'm going to try one today. No, I'm not going to use a pillow. Okay, so what you're going to do is reach your lower arm up above your head. Bring your knees up to about 45 degrees to the torso. So you're lying on your side. I'll let you choose which side. I'm lying on my left side, right arm on top. You want to be able to lie your head on your lower arm. So those people with frozen shoulders are not going to be able to do this. So what you do is you take your arm out in front of you, have a pillow under your head. So your arm is long in front of you, and you'll do wide openings if you can. If you can't do wide openings, you'll rest your upper arm on your side and you'll take your shoulder forward and back with this movement. So you're lying on your side and your upper shoulder is just going forward and back from the waist. And that's your engagement for this movement. The rest of us are going to have our arm extended underneath us above our head as if it's pointing to 12 o'clock. Really stretch your lower side out so it's nice and long. And then the other arm goes over the head as if it's trying to touch the palm of the lower hand. If you can't do that, but you can do the arms in front of you 90 degrees, then you can have the palms on top of each other and just widen the arm above your head. But full propeller is arms over the head. And then we're just going to sway our upper shoulder forward and back in whichever position you're in, doing it very gently, very slowly, rocking forward and back, taking the head with it, looking down to the floor. We've done a lot of waist work, and you should have a nice long open waist to a degree. So you should be able to connect your brain to your waist straight away after the other moves we've done. So rather than this all just being about the shoulder movement, it comes down to the length, down to the hips. If you feel able to, just start moving the hand back behind you, forward. So it's kind of like you're taking your hand, if there was a circle, you're taking it to kind of 11 o'clock and then 1 o'clock. The other arm stays where it is. If you're doing arm opening in front of you, just taking your arm as wide as it can behind you, very gently. It's a different movement really, but we can still incorporate the leg into that one. If your arm's on your side, you're just making that movement as big as your body will let you over time. Just taking the shoulder forward and back. Your lower arm might be in a different position to mine, might be forward with a pillow. And try not to let the knees come apart, they stay on the floor, stuck together. Pelvis is kind of the static place. If you're swinging, if you've got no pillow, your arms underneath you pointing to 12 o'clock, then you might start finding that your head's touching the floor on either side, your face is touching down at the front, nose maybe. If your waist is opening up a little bit more, which it should slowly do. So breathe in as you go back, breathe out as you come forward. So I'm going to start making my arm go wider and reach round to kind of 2, 3 o'clock. Back behind me to 10, 9 o'clock. If it's not quite ready to go to 9 o'clock, through the chest muscles. And so we're just working into our waist, slowly working into our shoulder, the side of our body, in whichever one of those positions you're in. Being always mindful. Yeah, my chest definitely wasn't ready to go around to 9. So I have to watch that, watch your neck. Keep everything nice and soft. If it gets too strong, you need to adjust and go to a different position, do. If you need to bring your arm away from that, if it's your trauma side, you might not like it. Mine didn't like it very much, so I'm just going to rest my arm. Still doing that nice forward and back movement. And then when you feel ready, we're going to bring the leg in. So whichever one you're in these, as your arm goes back or your shoulder goes back, your leg shoots forward from the knee, the upper leg. So you've got a nice long leg going out in front of you. It might get up to 3 o'clock, might not. And then as you go forward, keep the leg long and let it come along the floor. Engage the bottom muscles, let the leg go back behind you. It might mean that you stop a little bit to do that. You might have to just have a little fiddle about with that to start with. See, now when I bring my leg forward, I can let my arm go right back to 3 o'clock, because we've changed the angle of the pelvis. So have that awareness, you're changing things. If you rock forward through the top, let's sort my belly out, and your leg goes back behind you, you could come right forward through the chest. Try and keep the toe on the floor. If it's too strong for you to have the leg going back behind you, don't take it back till your chest has come up to the top, till you're actually on your side again. If it's too strong to take it back behind you, just bring it back to where it started with a bent knee. So you could just lengthen the leg at the front. And if it's too strong to take it back behind you, just bring the knee back to where it started and see if you can try and touch the foot to your bottom. I'm going to do 2 more. So wherever you've got 2 more. If you were doing this at home without me there, then you would just keep going maybe. It's really lovely to keep extending this, feel into it, really change the angles. Watch where you're changing the angles. So last round. When you've done your last one, rest to your side. If you're watching this and you had to be exposed to my belly hanging out, I do apologise. Hey ho. Have a little rest, do nothing. Oh, that's nice. I do like these long flowing ones near the end. They're always very lovely, aren't they? Slow everything down. Oh, whole body. So I'm going to turn round so I'm still facing the camera so you can hear me properly, and the rest of you just turn over onto the other side gently. Keep your head low, try and keep that nervous system down and slow. I'm going to sit up gently. I've been talking, so I'm not getting the benefits of this fully anyway, so my nervous system isn't as slow as yours. If you can reach that arm out under your head, rest your head on it, have it pointing towards 12 o'clock. This is my trauma side, so I've just lengthened my trauma side. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be able to do this with this arm underneath my body. And then other arm over the top. Otherwise, pillow under your head, arms in front of you, palms touching, long arm out 90 degrees. Otherwise, if it's your trauma side up, then put your arm along your body and just move your shoulder forward and back, connecting to the waist. Your other arm can be wherever you want it to be, under your head, on a pillow, it's up to you. So let's go back to this, starting very gently, taking the shoulder, whichever position you're in, forward and back. If your arm's sweeping up, then make sure that it can go back very gently. You might find this side you start getting more movement straight away because you've already loosened the back muscles, softened the back muscles. You might be able to already start reaching from 11 to 1 through the waist and the shoulders. Breathe in as you go back. Remember, your legs are about 45 degrees bent to the side of your body. Keep the pelvis where it is, knees stay together. They don't lift off the floor. If you're lifting off the floor, you're not really getting the full benefits of this. This might be a tiny movement for some of you. Tiny, tiny. Might just be rocking forward and back very gently, connecting to the waist, that shoulder. Remember, you might end up with your face on the floor, especially if you reach round to 3 o'clock. Is it 3 o'clock or 9 now? It depends, doesn't it, really, where you've left your clock phase. I'm putting down to 6 really, aren't I? My feet are at 12 now. So when I reach, this is going to confuse everybody, is when I reach forward it's 5, 4, 3 o'clock. When I reach back it's 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Oh, I'm at 9 o'clock when I'm on the floor. Just ignore me. Send the leg forward as your arm goes back. If you're feeling into that now, remember, if you come through the middle, reach up, send the leg back behind you. Might have a straight leg, might be a little bit bent. If you can't do that, then just send the calf forward, bring it back to where you started. Bring it up to your bottom if you want to. If it's rested on your calf. Make sure you breathe in as you go back. Don't try and force any of this. This is very strong. It's too much to try and do to force this, just because you want to make it a bigger movement. Let it kind of evolve. So you don't end up feeling like you've injured yourself. And if you do any of these moves in a stretch way, strength way, you're going to have the same effects as if you went to the gym. You're going to feel those overworked muscle feelings, overstretched muscles. So I'm going to do 3 or 4 more. Because I've been talking, I'm going much faster than I would otherwise go. So if you're watching this, make sure you slow it down. When you've done your last rounds, then rest down, do nothing. All that concentrating. Come onto your backs gently. And we try and keep our heads down, spines long, so that we don't startle our nervous system. We calmed it all down. We want it to stay calm. That's why we don't keep looking up. That's why this is kind of me doing auditory teaching, so that you're just keeping everything nice and slow without having to keep reacting. Have a little check up through your feet all the way up to your head by just taking in those places that you looked at and noticed on the way, on the scan at the start. Notice how much slower your breathing is, how it's expanding much further into the body. Maybe take a couple of deeper breaths and notice how different it feels from the start. In the waist and in the shoulders, in the abdomen. If you're staying here to enjoy this feeling, then stay here. Take no notice of me, switch the sound off. Forget about it all, fall asleep, sink. If you're not and you've got things to do, then wiggling your fingers and your toes, getting a little bit more active in your body again. Think about gently coming over onto your side. Have a little rest there. When you feel ready to sit up, then use your arms. Push up gently. Come up slowly. Have a little chat with me if you feel like it. If you're still there. So if you're still lying down, have a lovely rest. Take all that slowed down nervous system, enjoy it. Don't rush into jumping up and just cracking on again. Give it a chance to kind of, store that information away. I will be back on Tuesday, and like I said earlier, we're doing the green light reflex, which is all your tight back muscles, all the things that pull you back if you're a very energetic person, or if you've damaged your back muscles. Too much gardening. Everybody's out in their garden, aren't they? Well, not everybody, but a lot more people. So yes, if that's you, you've been bike riding or whatever else, and you've got back muscles neck muscles that are complaining, then next week's the one for you. So take care, lots of love, and stay safe, and don't go mad this weekend. It's bank holiday weekend. And lots of love. Bye.